In 2019, I was desperate for a job. Anything at all. A friend connected me to a security agency that needed someone to work night shifts guarding an old, decommissioned hospital. The pay wasn't great, but at least it was consistent. I was told my only job was to do hourly patrols across the 4 floors of the hospital and log any activity, though activity was mostly rats and power outages. On my first day, I met the outgoing guard. He looked exhausted, pale, and avoided eye contact. As he handed over the logbook, he whispered, "Don't open the door to room 302. I laughed. Thought it was some weird hazing ritual. The hospital was cold, quiet, and smelled like iodine and mildew. Most of the lights were out, except the ones in the hallway. There was no electricity, only a generator that powered select bulbs. The first night went fine. It was a bit eerie, yes, but I brought headphones and music to keep me distracted. But the second night, things changed. Around 2 a.m. I heard something from the 3rd floor. I paused my music. It sounded like wheels rolling. Like a gurney being pushed. The sound echoed down the hallway. I grabbed my flashlight and walked up cautiously. And there it was, a hospital stretcher rolling slowly by itself, coming from the direction of room 302. I froze. It passed me and hit the far wall gently, then stopped. I called my supervisor, told him I saw something strange. He just replied, "Log it. If you didn't see anyone push it, it didn't happen." The next night, I arrived earlier. Out of curiosity, I walked to room 302 before my shift began. The door was locked. Old and rusty. I peered through the tiny glass slit. Inside, it looked like any other old room, except for something scratched into the far wall in red. I never left. I stepped back immediately. Around 3 a.m. that same night, my radio turned on by itself. Static at first. Then, a voice, low and hoarse. "Room 302 is open now." My heart dropped. I sprinted to the 3rd floor. The hallway was darker than usual. And room 302? The door was wide open. I couldn't explain it, I didn't hear a creak, no hinges. Just, open. I should have run. But I stepped inside. It was freezing. Colder than anywhere else in the building. The moment I stepped in, the door slammed shut behind me. And then I saw her. A woman, lying on a gurney in the center of the room, hooked to imaginary machines. Her eyes were open, pitch black. Skin pale as death. Her mouth moved slightly, repeating the same sentence. "Check me out." They forgot to check me out. The lights flickered. I bolted to the door. It wouldn't budge. I screamed, banged, prayed. After what felt like an eternity, I blacked out. I woke up the next morning in the security room. The logbook was beside me, and someone had written an entry at 3:02 a.m. 302 is finally empty. She's coming down now. I quit that same day. 2 weeks later, I checked online and found out the hospital had been shut down in 2004 after a nurse went missing on the 3rd floor. They said she'd been overworked. No trace of her was ever found. The worst part? The night nurse was assigned to room 302. I attend a university that's about 30 minutes from home, and sometimes when I stay back late to study or hang out with friends, I end up taking the last bus or bike home. But a few months ago, I noticed something strange. It started subtly. I would feel this overwhelming sense of being followed as I walked through the dimly lit faculty path that led to the bus stop. The first time it happened, I stopped and looked around, nothing. But the feeling didn't leave. Then it escalated. One evening, around 8:45 p.m., I left school and got a bike. The road home cuts through a semi-rural area with a lot of bushes. Midway through the ride, I started hearing a whispering sound behind me. I tapped the rider. "Do you hear that?" He shook his head. The sound grew louder, like someone murmuring prayers backwards. But every time I turned, I saw nothing. The moment I stepped down at my bus stop, I felt a rush of cold air behind me. My rider sped off without saying a word. When I got home, my younger sister stared at me and said, "Who was that with you?" No one was with me. That night, I dreamt of a faceless figure crouching outside my window, whispering my name over and over. Every night since, it returns. Now, I never leave school after 6 p.m. This story still messes with my head. In 2021, during the COVID lockdown, I moved back home. The house was always quiet, especially at night. That's when I started seeing him. It began with dreams. A tall man in a brown robe, standing at my door, his neck bent unnaturally sideways like it was broken. He wouldn't speak, he'd just tilt his head more and more until it cracked. Then I'd wake up, gasping. One night, I woke up at 3:12 a.m. to pee. As I walked out of my room, I saw movement in the hallway mirror. There he was, standing behind me. I turned around, but the hall was empty. I stopped sleeping with the lights off. One day, I decided to record myself sleeping using an old phone. The next morning, when I checked, I almost threw the phone away. At exactly 3:13 a.m., the camera showed a dark figure walk to my bed and stand over me for 7 minutes. Then he just vanished. No sound. No footsteps. I showed it to my cousin, and he started screaming when he saw the figure. "Bro! I've seen that same man in my dreams. We burnt the phone. But he still comes. Less often now. But sometimes, I still hear the sound of a neck, cracking, slowly." My phone rang at exactly 2:06 a.m.